You just tuned it in. Global and worldwide. Hitting you on the one with no delay. Because it's the fighter's voice. The fighter's voice. With your fighting host, Richard Ortiz. And the formidable co-host, Mr. Cole Escovedo. Remember, every fighter has a voice.
Fresno, California. We're live here in Mad Production Studios. I'm your host, Rich Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice. I got my co-host with the most, the Apache Kid himself, the UFC veteran, Cole Escovedo. How we doing, Cole?
What's going on, amigo? I'm tired.
I know you're tired.
To me today, dude.
Well, the heat will squeeze all that out of you, man.
It will, dude. It drains you if you sit in the heat long enough. I had sunscreen on and everything. I was drinking agua. Didn't help.
But see, we're here in California. Our guest tonight is in Las Vegas, man. I mean, that's
a
desert
right
right there,
114
man.
out
Yes,
there, 115.
I'm going to ask him personally right now. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, because I don't want to waste the man's time. The man is constantly on the grind. He's constantly multitasking, and that's the one and only, the trainer, Gabe Flores Sr. Welcome to the show, Gabriel.
Thanks for having me, man. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good. And, I'm doing good, man. I'm feeling good. Team Flores pulled out the victory, got the W, and I can't wait just to jump right in. My first question is, Gabriel, what was it like, man? I mean, knowing that it's called now the bubble. Describe the bubble to us.
Honest, for me, it wasn't too bad besides the food. I like to eat when I want to eat and how I want to eat.
Right.
I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, I felt more like you're in jail, dealing with the... You got to eat their food, and I didn't feel that too much. I had to order food from different places and have Uber Eats deliver food to me. But besides that, it didn't really bother me. I mean, Junior was fine with it. I was fine with it.
Hey, well, room service, right? And I got to ask you about your game, because rumor has it, man, that you're one hell of a ping pong ball player, man. Talk to us about that.
I'm all right, man. I beat Bernardo from ESPN, though. That's my little story I got. But Gabe was a little bit better than me.
Well, I
tried to play a little bit of ping pong.
He has those fast hands, man. Speaking of fast hands, Cole, what was your whole take on the victory on young Gabriel Flores Jr.? Stepping up to the main event.
Yeah, getting pushed up to the main event. I mean, when I heard about that, I didn't think it was going to really change any game plan. I don't think it adds any more pressure. To them, it's just, cool, we have an opportunity to shine even brighter right now. That's really all I think they saw it as. I wasn't as surprised as I was, impressed with the fashion that he finished him in.
Yeah.
It was just why wasn't this main event already? It was supposed to have been a good fight no matter what. Yeah. So it's okay, cool. Basically, the fight ended up right where it was supposed to have been, and I think a lot of fans' eyes anyway.
Yeah. What'd you think about the hand speed? Because I was talking to Senior off camera about his hand speed, man, in his footwork.
Don't blink kind of hand speed.
Exactly.
That's what people were talking about before. They were like, oh,
exactly.
It's so fast. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know he's fast. I say, but that's fast as he was. It's not that it was fast. It was accurate and fast. That's a better description of it, because when you're fast, you can miss here and there. But when you're fast and accurate, that's deadly. That's risky deadly.
The timing was on point.
Yeah, your timing was just, it seemed like everything was just, his shoulders moved at just the right time, and it just landed bam, bam, bam. So...
Gabriel, did it change anything mentally, physically, spiritually once you got the notice and said, hey, we need you in the main event tonight? Are you available for this opportunity?
That doesn't bother him one bit. I mean, he's always been used to the lights. It doesn't bother him one bit. You can't get no bigger than fighting at home in Stock Arena in front of 10,000 people, so it wasn't no big deal at all.
Now, I wanted to ask, did the crowd or non-crowd, so to speak, did that affect him at all? Was it a letdown to him? Because I know he vibes, and I'm going to talk about his whole gear, apparel. He vibes on how he looks, how he feels, and how he presents himself. I mean, he loves that entry to the ring. Did that change anything or zap anything away from him in your eyes?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, it was just that's like sparring pretty much. He could hear. He actually liked it because he could hear me a lot, loud and clear.
You know what? I'm glad you brought that up. Cove, you watched the second round where Gabriel set him up. Started with the body, landed the left hook, but the right hand is what put Reese down, who's never been knocked down in his whole career, mind you. And his whole story, he comes from a tough background, tough growing up, and you can hear Senior go back to the body. Because that's what set up the headshots and what loosened him up there. But you can hear very clear. And Cole, as a fighter, when you're in there, you stay focused. But on something like that, in the where he's at with no crowd, whether you want to or not, you're gonna hear your corner.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in fortunate positions to where I can hear my corner pretty much no matter what deep voice. You get guys like Matt Serra, things like that. They got just deep voices, like you just hear them no matter what. Yeah. But I've also been in arenas where it's just quiet. Like the arena's full, but it's just dead quiet. Yeah. They don't say anything. So I think it's better to be able to hear your cornerman clearly. Now, granted, he can hear him too, but it's like, hey, if Gabriel's going to land that body shot head combo, whether you tell your guy, whether you tell him it's coming or not, it don't matter. It's not whether you know it's coming. He can tell you all day it's coming. It's hit the timing, like you said, like Dad said. It's the timing of when he throws it to land it. That's where it's effective. Like if you tell him all day, so what if he hears you? He can't stop it. Gabe's going to pick when he wants to land it. It's not just because you know it's coming doesn't mean you know when it's coming. So I think it's a good thing being able to hear the cornerman clearly like that.
There you go. When the fighter was able to make it back into the to the round, so honestly, I thought Gabriel was going to put the finish to him, and I was kind of looking to see how much time there was left. What was that conversation like once he sat down on the stool getting ready for round 3?
Nothing, to stay calm, to relax, and set it back up. I mean, I think when he hurt him, and he dropped him, and he went to him too fast, and he should have kind of took his time and fanned him and touched him on top and went hard down to the body, and then came back to the head. But this whole experience, he's going to learn more by this fight. He did great. Everything was perfect. He didn't get hit for maybe 3 times in the fight cleanly. So, I mean, the only complaint he had was his back. His back. He had his back tightened up on him really bad after the fight. I mean, during the fight, but it was a little injury he had during sparring. But I didn't think it was that big of a deal until fight night.
What advice, or how did you guys work through it? I'm sure he said, "Hey, Pops, I'm kind of stiff. My back's kind of stiffening." What advice did you give him?
So this is me, Rich. You know how I am. You hurt your hand. I'm saying I don't care if you hurt your hand. Hit him with that damn hand and finish the fight, and we'll worry about it after the fight. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, we have to win by any means necessary, and that's it.
Well, hey, I mean, it's straight shooter. And, as this fight was leading up, they did the comparison with the father and son tandem, and you were right up there with them. They had you right in the mix with from Danny Swift Garcia and his father to Tito Trinidad and his father. Knowing that you're put in that category, man, how does that make you feel as a trainer, as a father, and how does it make you feel exactly where Gabriel Flores Jr. is at in his career right now?
Honestly, Rich, I don't really think about it. I don't put too much thought into it. I mean, I know what we're going to do. I know what I can do. I know what Junior can do. I got supreme confidence in my job and my ability. So, and I mean, my personal opinion is my own personal opinion, you know what I'm saying? But I think we're going, up quick from here,
Well, speaking of that, you brought this up right here, man, and because we got a small time frame, I'm going to jump right into it. Right now, the fighter's voice is going to put Gabriel Flores Sr. up against the ropes. These are questions that, as soon as I mention a name, I want your take and what you're feeling exactly once I mention that name. You ready, Gabriel?
Go for it.
Okay. First of all, what was your take as soon as you heard about Jamel Herring testing positive for the coronavirus?
I didn't have a thought about it. I mean, it happens to the best of us. I mean, you never know. I mean, I'm not even sure how he got it with his. I'm sure I just seen the interview. He's fine now, but I have no comment on it. It doesn't pertain to me or my team.
Okay. Well, I should have said WBO super lightweight champion of the world, Jamel Herring. What comes to mind once I mention the name Felix Verdejo?
That's a future fight, I mean, if Brad Goodman wants to make that fight, we can make that fight happen. We have no problem with it. We're ready.
There you are. And you got to remember, these are the names that are coming forward. These are from the fans, the followers, and the supporters.
Right.
What goes through your minds once you hear this name as a possible opponent? Used to be in your stable, and that's Al Thibodeau and Andy Vincent's.
Andy, we don't really think about him. I mean, I wish him all the luck in the world, but he's not even on our radar. We're looking for Herring. We're looking for Alacran. We're looking for those titles. I mean, we're the type of people we go up, not down.
Well, that's fair enough. So if you don't get that call for the world title, will you be interested in taking on the WBC Continental America Super Featherweight Champion, and that's Albert Bell? Does that fight interest you?
100% we'll take on Albert Bell, no problem.
The belt collection is
No
what they're doing
problem.
right now.
If Brad Goodman calls in and says that's the fight, then they'll fight. We'll take it, no problem. We ain't worried about nobody at 130. Nobody at all, you know. It's no disrespect to nobody, but Junior's ability, you only seen probably 60% of him. He's getting better, getting older, he's getting stronger. Like I told you, and in every fight, you'll see something different.
You know, Gabriel, what's kind of ironic is because I have conversations with you all the time, and we get to, I mean, we talk about different things, and I'm when I'm on the show, I'm kind of like in the middle. I want the whole fans to know what I know. And that is the talent and exactly where Gabriel Flores Jr. is heading in his career. I got to ask you this question. This came in from a fan. His name is Emilio Flores Jr. He said, please ask how sparring was with Emiliano Vargas, and how would you rate his skill level at his age? And he also said, keep up the good work.
Little Emiliano Vargas is really good. He's a great talented kid. I think he's the best out of all the Vargas boys. Emiliano's really good. I like him. You know, he worked junior low. He had fast feet, fast hands. It was good work.
Good. And you know what? And that comes from that DNA's in that blood. Of course, Pops is Fernando Vargas, and two-time world champion.
The kid, you know, you could tell the kid's having fun. He loves what he does. And that's what it takes to be a great fighter. You know, you have to love what you do. You know, you can't dread going to the gym. You have to want to go to the gym. You have to love to go to the gym. You have to want to learn. And all those things come together, you know. I mean, and you could see it in the little Emilio.
Yeah, exactly, and it's starting to pay off. I follow him as well, and as far as, and even the whole family, they're doing very well. Pops is very proud, and he's very supportive. This next question is coming in from promoter Ernie Jaimes. He said, ask him, is there anything different that you would change from the move from Stockton to Las Vegas at this point?
No, nothing at all. I did everything absolutely perfect at the perfect time, and I'm super satisfied of our decision.
There you go, enough said. Gabriel Flores, you are now off the ropes here on The Fighter's Voice. Cole, I know you got some questions for him. Go ahead and shoot away, my man.
Yeah, real quick, Gabe. I know last time we had you on, you were mentioning the bigger picture for Junior and the scope and the grand scheme that you guys want to go in right now. Boxing and getting him on the train in the right direction is where you guys are focused on. Now with this win and the type of exposure jump that you guys got with this last fight, can you give us an idea at all about what maybe outside of boxing you're looking at for Junior as far as branding him and making him more than just a boxer, but kind of getting his brand into other markets?
You know what? You're cutting out a little bit. Can you repeat that one more time? I mean, you want...
So just outside of boxing, I know that after you guys, we were talking with you before the fight. Now after the fight's gone, and you can kind of look at a business scope. Is there anything that you're looking to get Junior involved in outside of boxing, as far as expanding his brand and where his potential to make money for his future is?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. You know, I'm open to pretty much anything, but you know, I like. We talked about him doing acting. You know, that'll be great. You know, something like that.
We got to get him in touch with Michael Palencia.
Yeah, acting. I mean, I think that'll be good for him, and he has a lot of charisma, and he's pretty smart.
Yeah, I was gonna say he already seems like he carries, like you said, the way he dresses. He already has like a presence when he enters a room just based on how he dresses, and he's just always been that way. So I can see that kind of characteristic carrying over to, you know, potentially trying acting and stuff, because that'll translate to his own personality, and they'll just want him to act natural. That's kind of how they want, when they get a lot of fighters that transition over into TV of some kind, they want them to just be natural, just be who you are. Yeah. We'll direct you and stuff. So exactly. That'll translate for him.
And I think that's the key, man. I think that's why Gabriel's going to be a superstar, because he is who he is. We are who we are. We're not trying to be nobody else. We're just being ourselves, you know. And you could see these other fighters, you know, some of them try to imitate, some of them try to copy, do the same, but it doesn't come off the same because it's not natural. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? It's not them.
And you can tell in another person's body language too, big time.
I mean, look at the upbringing we came through. I mean, we didn't choose to come up like this, but that's just what it is, and this is it. You know, this is who we are.
It's the cards you were dealt, kind of thing.
Like I said, it was a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm.
It is. Talking about a perfect storm, Gabriel, I want to offer you this in case you didn't know. Our producer, our engineer, he is an acting coach. And he rubs elbows with the who's who. So whenever you want to put together a small film or what they call in Hollywood a reel, It's a little introduction of himself, showing his skill set, man. Next time you're in Fresno, California, let's make it worth your while. Stop over here at Mad Production Studios. Our man KP will take care of both you and Junior as far as those acting classes.
Yeah, get some a little bit of reel going, just to kind of and see what he looks like on film and stuff, and how he talks and stuff. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, actually.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he comes out pretty good in his interviews. He's a natural kid, you know. He doesn't try too hard. He's just, again, he's just himself, you know.
Yeah, he just answers the questions. He just has the conversation. Yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah, he does. And it's also a quick plug, man. And you know, if we can offer our services all the way around, because every fighter has a voice, and so does Gabriel Flores Jr.
You got to hear
it. When I was talking to you earlier, Gabriel, I had talked about you coming back on the show, doing that whole post fight, and your first thing was, "Hey, but Junior's in Stockton," and that kind of rang a bell with me. You guys made the move to Vegas, but I mean, that is a real person right there, because he is true to his roots, true to his love, and true to his town of Stockton, California. Talk to us about that.
Oh, bro, he loves Stockton, man. We love Stockton. I'm going back to in a couple of weeks. It's just I have some business to handle over here. But Junior, you know, he's not fighting right now. He's got 2 weeks off, so he's going to go chill with his friends, his family, you know. So, yeah, we're always going to be back in Stockton. We're not fighting. We're in Stockton, you know, chilling.
There you go. Cole, I know you love what you're hearing right now, especially coming from a father-son boxing relationship. When he says, okay, we're done boxing right now. Go take 2 weeks off, kind of chill, relax, collect yourself, go have some fun, have some me-self fight time. When you hear that, what goes through your mind knowing, okay, this is the right path, this is the right combination, this team works?
Yeah, it's it just goes to reinstill the fact that he's making sure that he treats his son not just like a fighter. Like, he's making sure he looks out for his own mental health as far as his son goes. Like, fighters need breaks. There's a lot of mental stress. There's a lot of focus, brain matter commitment, and stuff like that. So he's got to remind him, hey, go take some time off. Go be Gabriel. Go hang out with your friends. Go see your girls or whatever. You know, go have fun.
I noticed you said girls with an S.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe, you know, he dresses really fancy. The dude's got to have some swagger to him. I'm pretty sure he's got some charisma. So I mean, you know, but it reminds him to go and live. Remember, Gabriel's what, 20? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's only 20. So it's like, you got to remind him, hey, dude, go be 19, go be 20, go be 21. Like, you can only do it once.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, once that passes, it never comes. So he's reminding him to go and be a person as well. Like, boxing's great. It's going to build your future. It's going to set you on a course to success. But remember to go be a young man as well, which is good. It's that father-son dynamic is where that plays out.
And that's why it's going to work. Senior, I got to ask you this, man, and I'm one to detail. I am one to detail, but I'm going to go out on a limb right now. Those have to be the sickest boxing trunks that Gabriel has come out with to this day. I mean, his gear was on hit, his noise, everything, down to the shirt, down to the mask, everything. Talk to us about how much thought did you put into it this time around, or was that just easy gear set just to put together for this fight?
I mean, basically, that's our colors, man. We just play with our colors and our logos, man, you know. That's it. I mean, shit, the next one's going to even better. It's already getting in production right now, you know what I'm saying? So, no, it's just us, Rich. Like I'm saying, that's just us. That who run it shit, that's me, you know what I'm saying? I said that shit, you know. Everything, our logo. Shout out to Fit Warrior, FTWRbrand.com. Go get your gear. You know what I'm saying? They're the best in the game. And my boy Fernando, we work together very closely when it comes to the gear and the logos. So, what else can I say? You know, that's just us. And I'm real particular. I'm real picky about my stuff. So obviously it's gonna be dope.
I like it. I like the way the font is on it too. It's real nice.
I want to go back to what your boy said about the mental stress and the camps. He's 1,000% correct. Like, there's a lot of mental stress besides physical stress. You know, you know me. I'm kind of rough in there. I talk a lot of shit. You know, during training, I push him really hard. But you know, that's my son. I do it for his best interest. But look at him. He don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? And this is a dangerous sport, man. Like, you know, you've seen the fights and you see what happens, man. You know,
just takes one.
Hey, they're not paying us to go to the hospital or get beat up, bro. We're not doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing our job and we're trying to get this check and go home.
Hit, don't get hit. That's the name of the game now. That's
right.
What it is.
But don't get me wrong. Gabriel wants to close the show. He wanted to close the show. He said his back tightened up, you know, and that's it. But I promise you this, dude. I mean, he's getting those titles. And I'm saying titles, not one. He's gonna be like about 4, 5, 6 of them. You know what I'm saying?
Collect them all up. Eventually, they got to give you your own organization at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And the confidence comes from people asking, you guys are cocky or come. No, I bust my ass. I bust my ass. Junior busted his ass. You know what I'm saying? We work hard. We move to Vegas. We sacrifice. People don't see what we do behind closed doors. I mean, they see all the jewelry. They see the clothes. They see the flash. They see the, me eating big ass steaks. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the phone 24/7 negotiating. I'm talking to these sponsors. I'm politicking. I'm talking to Top Rank. I'm doing his outfits. It's dude, I'm busy, but I'm busting my ass working. So yeah, we deserve what we get. And instead of people paying attention and talking shit and hating on us, they should concentrate on their own camp and their own brand.
Yeah, even instead of hating, just be like, hey, how'd you do this? Like, what did you do when you came across this? Like, why hate? Like, if they're doing well,
to be like, nah, I'm not gonna tell you. I'll tell you. Hit me up. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'm not going to copy you, but like, how did you approach it? I've been having such a hard time getting it. Like, what's the worst that happens? Did you ask somebody else's advice who's been successful?
It's that pride gets in their way, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's that pride. It's that self-ego, dude. That's like the worst thing to work against when you're trying to create a business or something.
That'd be like Gabriel Sr. not taking advice from the Freddie Roaches, the Robert Garcias, the Buddy McGirts, the Hall of Fame trainers. I mean, you ask away. We've had this conversation before, Gabriel, and you said, Richard, I continue to learn daily, every single day.
I got to. You know what I'm saying? You have to. I mean, you can learn something from somebody even if it's really, really minor. Sometimes those minor things are the biggest things,
It's the piece of the puzzle maybe that leads you to a bigger mission.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. Look, I'm going to tell you real quick, all right, what I've been teaching Gabriel, like the little things. So maybe you guys go back and watch the fight. So when Gabriel's moving and the guy comes in, Gabriel turns him. But when he turns him, he uses more physicality, like where he shoves him into the ropes and jumps on him.
Momentum.
So he turns him and kind of like, almost like a karate move. It's weird, like he will shove you. Like he'll turn you, use your weight against you and shove you, and he'll jump on you. Like we're doing little things like that, like where he's definitely evolving. You're going to see some crazy shit in the future.
I can see what he's talking about. He would let the guy come in, and it's not really a side step. Yeah, he would just shoulder turn and just turn the guy, and he's already in range for full extension. Gabriel didn't even have to take a step forward. He was just turn you, and bang, you're there.
Well, you saw that 1 minute 37 into the first round when he spun him off the ropes and threw a combination on him. He didn't just spin him.
This was supposed to be Gabriel's toughest fight to date, and it was his easiest.
That looked pretty like he was just in complete control of the dictation and the direction that fight was going to go from minute one.
Gabriel, what's next for Gabriel Flores Jr.?
Two more, I think 2-3 more fights in a world title shot.
Now, is he going to stay up? I mean, you said not moving taking anywhere backward steps. So this was his first 10-rounder. He went 10 rounds, no problem at all. Is that something we're going to continue to do with Team Flores? Take those 10-rounders?
Yeah, I mean,
within your control.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Within your control, you're going to grab those 10-round fights.
Of course. I mean, bro, Gabriel's in tremendous shape, Rich. He could have went 5 more rounds, bro. If his back was fine, he said, dude, he didn't feel, he could have threw more punches and everything like it, but his back tightened up on him. But I'm going to tell you, bro, the move out here helped us tremendously. We're training Mount Charleston, 10,000 feet, working, bro, working. So this is the beginning. This is the beginning of the new Gabriel Flores Jr. Dude, I'm telling you, it's going to be ridiculous. And when he fights for that title, mark my words, it's not going to be a good fight. He's going to beat the dog shit out of that boy. I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, it's going to be bad.
Hey, man, you hear it from the man himself. I got to ask you this, man. How was the new member of Team Flores? What was his assessment? What was his take on Gabriel Flores' victory?
Jay loved it. Jay loved it. He was happy, man. He was smiling from ear to ear, bro. He was happy. He was like, damn, that Mexican can fight. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? That's one thing I forgot to add. Not only was he the first to sign, he was the first Mexican-American to be signed by Jay Prince, correct?
That's correct.
How did that conversation go, Gabriel? I mean, give us some more information. Was he just saying, like, man, I mean, this kid is... I know he smiled. What was that conversation like?
Man, he's just happy, man. Sky's the limit, Sky's the limit for him. He sees, and then look, Jay don't say anybody.
No.
Jay's a smart man.
Yeah, businessman.
Jay's a smart businessman. And he had War, he had Roy Jones, he had Floyd Mayweather. He just don't sign anybody. He knows what he sees in Gabriel. That's why he signed him. I mean, he don't just sign anybody. You can't just call Jay and be like, hey, you want to sign me?
You have to have something to offer.
Yeah.
You have to have something big to offer for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, this question's coming in for you, Gabriel. It's just, how many bottles of cologne do you have, and what's your favorite cologne?
Hold on, before you answer. Hold on. Oh man, I was gonna say before you answer, let us guess. I wanted to say guess because I would have picked. I would have picked. I would have said like 5 to 7 would have been my range of cologne.
I used to have 5 to 7, bro, but I broke it down to just 2, and they're clean. And I love them, bro. Like, and you can wear them whenever.
Well, what are you rocking, Gabriel? What do you rock with?
I like that Eternity, that old school Eternity.
That's right. Yep.
That's
Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein, yeah.
And then what else?
And then the Geo,
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, that's killing it right there.
Fancy scents for fancy clothes, man. You got to have the scent to go with the look.
No, well, let me tell you a quick story right now because I know we got to let him go. I always see Gabriel in gear. I was with the hat. One time I see this guy in a sports jacket, no hat. I've never seen Gabriel Flores without his hat, senior, ever before. I walked by him maybe once, maybe twice. And then I recognized him, and I'm thinking, oh, this dude probably thinks I shined him on, man, or I dogged him out. I go, hey, bro. And then I went up to you. Remember, Gabriel, where was it, Tachi Palace? It was somebody. I said, bro, I didn't even recognize you.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, yeah. I mean, when I'm in my sports attire, my boxing shit, I always have a hat, you know what I'm saying? But when I have to suit up, you know what I'm saying, put on my blazer and my nice shit, you know what I'm saying, then I just got to get a cut and clean up.
You said right now you're going to pick up a special someone from the airport, man, and it's like every time we call you, you're getting ready for dinner, man. What's on the menu tonight?
I don't know. We're going to go to Del Fresco's here in Las Vegas, man. I love that spot. Try that, Del Fresco's, man. It's a spot in Las Vegas. It's awesome.
Last time you had lobster, what's calling your name tonight?
I don't know yet, man. I think I'm going to change it. Probably get some, like, salmon or some fish or something this time.
Still loving the
seafood. I don't know.
seafood.
Just chill. Probably have some Moet, a couple glasses of Moet, and that's about it. Just chill and see my girl, man, and spend time with her.
There you go, man. Well, I don't want to waste your time. Do you have anything more for Flores?
No, that's it, man. I was curious about the branding, and you answered it 100%. I just look forward to the next fight, and that's it. Because like I said, the last couple fights, he's been nothing but an upgrade every fight. So I'm super curious to see the next Flores Jr. that we get in there.
Exactly. Gabriel, I'm going to let you go, but before I let you go, man, Cole, when I always love Gabriel Flores' interviews. I get more interviews on the phone that the fans don't get to hear. I mean, when we're talking, it becomes an interview because our conversations go really well. But
right, man, but sometimes I can't let everybody know everything we're doing, Rich. You know what I'm saying?
I know that.
You should be happy that I let your ass know.
Hey, brother, I take it to the grave with me, man. I don't kiss and tell, homie.
All right, bro.
Hey, no, but this is my point, Gabriel. But there's nothing like getting Gabriel Flores Sr. on the show during fight week. Mm-hmm. During fight week, man, this guy becomes a freaking assassin, becomes a freaking shark, becomes a zombie, becomes helter-skelter, man.
Right, but you know what, bro? All the shit I say, it might be a little crazy to somebody, but that shit is fucking real, bro.
That's just fight week, man.
Like, it's real. Look at the shit that goes on. Bro, it's everything I say is true. And watch it. It's true or it's going to come true. I promise you.
That's right.
I don't talk bullshit.
Hey, I didn't say you did, man. I said it's always the funnest, man. I mean, because you're hyped and that energy's there, brother.
Hey, you know how good it feels, Rich, to know what the fuck you're doing and know where you're going?
That's a wonderful feeling, man.
Control. That's freeing.
No doubt, bro. Zero.
That's got to be a really freeing
That's
sensation.
a blessing from God right there, brother.
Zero, bro. Put them in front of us. Watch what happens to them.
There you go.
I don't give a fuck who. Put them. Let's go.
Gabriel Flores Sr. only on the Fighter's Voice, my man.
Straight up, bro. Hey, I bust my ass. Junior busts his ass. You know what I'm saying? I just got done running in 108-degree weather right now. You know what I'm saying? Just so I could keep up with Junior.
Gross.
That's right. No, I've been watching you. You're doing the jump rope and you're doing different things.
4 miles. Beanie up. What's
That's
up?
Gross.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready too, goddammit. You know what I'm saying?
The beanie was rocking and everything?
Hell yeah, bro. Like, hey, man, we hitting mitts. I get tired of this shit, Rich. If I don't run, I get tired. I don't hit mitts like I don't stand in front and hit mitts. I move my legs. I feint. I press them. I back up. I go forward. I go sideways. I do a lot of shit, bro.
Hey, man, when my knee gets better, man, I want you to hold the mitts for me. You can give me a little boxing lesson.
Try and be like 3 minutes. You'll get tired, Rich.
Well, I'll make sure I go 3.5 minutes, man. I'm gonna make Gabriel. I'm gonna make sure I go longer than freaking sex, okay?
3 minutes like your sex
Gabriel, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna make sure we go longer than sex. How's that?
What?
You said 3 minutes, man. I want to make sure I go longer than that. Come on now.
Oh, you got to, bro. You got to. Your fucking wife will leave you.
Oh, man. There you go. Gabriel Flores Sr. talking shit, but it's good. You know what? I wouldn't have it any other way, Escovedo, because that is real. That's who he is, and that's who we have on the show.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Hey, man.
No bullshitters.
No.
Hey, congratulations to my boy from Bakersfield right now that just beat Rolando Vargas.
Oh, Caveman?
Caveman beat him, man.
Yeah, that's what's up. I actually I called this fight about maybe, I want to say 3 months ago, ring announcing in Bakersfield. And yeah, he pulled it out. Did he get a stoppage or a victory, or what was it?
I was talking to Daniel last night. He busted him up pretty good. It was 58-56. I was talking to Daniel.
Okay.
He called me when the fight was made, and he called me last night, man, and I wished him well. And you know what I'm saying?
Good, man.
He's supposed to do. He stood behind the jab, went to the body, paid off.
Yeah, we were just talking about him before I got to the show because I'm recording it. So when I get home, I can watch it. Was Repo Rick in there? Was he jumping in the ring?
Fuck your Repo Rick. Yeah, he was there. He wasn't jumping around. No.
No, not this time, huh? Hey, well, I'm going to let you go. I want you to enjoy your evening. But what do you have for all the fans, the followers, and everybody that supports Team Flores?
Man, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys, man. Hopefully we'll see you guys soon at the Stockton Arena, man. And I wish everybody the best.
Hey, you got it. We wish you well, too. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule, man. Talk to you later, my man.
No problem. Thank you, bro.
Oh, you got it. Bye. Hey, 100%, man. Keeps it real all the way around.
As advertised.
And those are the guests that you want. You don't want the faked ones that are reading the script. You want the ones that don't need a script. They don't need to be prepped. What you see is what you get.
Yeah. I mean, cool, because it doesn't leave any room for, like I said, bullshit. Like,
who wants to be around that, man?
What's the point? But they do definitely have a direction they're going in. They have a real direction.
He kept it real even while he's talking to us. He's watching the fight.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he updated because I wanted to find out who won. And you sure enough.
Yeah, but that's like learning a baseball game when you've got a DVR at home.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, who won the World Series? Shit.
Yeah, shut up. Yeah,
why would you tell me?
But it's all good. He was just proud for his boy because he just reached out to him.
Yeah,
exactly. If you have a fighter reach out to you, there's respect, there's reverence, and you trust him.
Exactly. You want to share the celebration, kind of. So.
You know, talking about corner, man, talking about decisions, talking about taking a fighter's career in your own hands, man. I got to talk to you about this weekend UFC. There was a certain trainer that was giving advice to his fighter not to protect himself, not to slip the jab, not to go in for the kill, but to continue to fight when the fighter said repeatedly, I don't want to continue. What's your take on that, man? Update us, those that don't know what's going on.
So over the weekend you had a fighter, Rajkamp, it's not his first fight. I think it might have been his debut for the UFC, though. At least for the UFC was his debut. 5 days notice, to my understanding. He took the fight on short notice, which... I mean, it's at the end of the day, guys, it's really not that big of a deal taking fights on short notice. I mean, at this level, you should be ready for a phone call at any time. Like, you should always be able, even if it's not the UFC, LFA could call, Bellator could call, anybody could call. King of the Cage could call, Gladiator Challenge. I mean, there's a plethora of organizations that call and say, hey, we need a replacement this weekend. Are you down to make some money and get a fight on your record? You should always be able to say yes. The only time you should say no is because you're either injured and can't take the fight, and even then I know some guys that would say, yeah, I'll take the fuck fight anyway. Or B, you already have a fight scheduled.
What questions do you ask? Do you ask, what's the weight limit, how much time I got, and how much money am I getting?
What weight class and what's the purse? Those are really the only two main questions. It's like, I don't really care who it is. It's what's the weight class you want it at, and then what's the purse? Okay, now who's the opponent? Okay, I want this for that opponent then. If it's going to be that opponent, then how about we do this? You offered 5, let's make it 7. Split in the middle, 65.
Or 5 and 5.
Yeah, something like that. Like, let's, you want to do like 4 and 4. Well, for that opponent, let's do 5 and 5. Or meet me in the middle somewhere.
Cole, explain to the viewers, the fans, the followers exactly what 5 and 5 is.
So 5 and 5, guys, for those of you that, if boxing does something very different. They have set purses that they split. But what the MMA, majority of the time, you'll have $5,000. 5 and 5 is like $5,000 to show up, make weight. At the very least, just show up and make weight. And if the fight gets canceled for some reason, you still showed up and made weight. But then if you show up and make weight, fight and lose, you're guaranteed like a set amount of money. And most organizations, they double that with a win. Right. Like your contract will be 5 and 5, 5,000 to show, 5,000 more to win. The problem I have with that, and don't worry, guys, we're going to circle back around to the corner question. The problem I have with that, though, is that I find it as a disincentive to put on a show. Now, if somebody said, look, you're going to make 10 grand if you win 5 and 5, I would be more willing as a promoter to go, look, you're going to win 10 grand, but here's the deal. You're going to get 3 and 7.
Oh, okay.
Or 2 and 8.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to pay you kind of like training cost and manager cost and gym costs and shit like that. I'm pretty much going to give you just to show up and fight what it costs you to get ready for the fight. But if you want a juicy payday, you want another $6 or $7 grand, win the fucking fight. Yeah. I think there should be that, and I think something we did before, Christian Printup, I think, did this. I'll have to go and ask Christian, but I'm like 99% sure that Christian started this with the PFC when he took over, Palace Fighting Championships. You could, the day of weigh-ins, you could put on this little chart they gave you to fill out and sign. How do you think you'll win? Do you think you'll win by sub, decision, TKO? And there was like 3 slots, and you could pick them. And I think maybe not decision, but I think it was TKO or sub. Yeah. And if you picked one of those and you won that way, you would get an extra bonus. So if you
kind of like Conor McGregor calling his shot.
Yeah, like you're Babe Ruth in it. Yeah. But they'll pay you extra if you Babe Ruth it and then do that.
And it happens.
So if you pick a knockout but you sub the guy, you get the win, but you don't get the bonus. Yeah. But if you pick sub and you sub the guy, you're gonna get the win purse, and a bonus check on top of that. So that's something I think that needs to come back. Fromowitz, Dana, Ed over at LFA. I don't care who wants to use it, but that is an idea that I know wasn't really like coined, like Christian didn't really like. I don't know if Christian trademarked that idea or not, but that's something that should be fun, because here's the thing: if you set aside a little bit of extra money to promote, it's like you're going to have guys that are going to go for finishes. Like the fight of the night bonuses is good, but why not just let everybody pick it, and if you nail it, you win. If not, then you save money as a promoter. Yeah. Like if you have a whole fucking night of decisions, I'm not giving out fucking bonuses. No. Maybe I'll pick a fight that was just a war, just an absolute war, and we'll give those guys a little bonus because they put on a show. But when you have a card full of decisions, nobody went to put on a show. It's like, why are you giving out bonuses?
That's a great incentive too.
So, but to come back to your corner question, it wasn't his first rodeo. It was his first with the UFC. But at the same time, the guy's got multiple fights. He's got a record on it. You know, he's not a losing fighter. So I'd be super curious as to what made him feel this was the stage to quit on. Because as a corner man, I'd be like, bro, are you sure? Because are you sure you want to quit on TV,
He took
bro?
a pretty good combination when he got back to the corner, but yet he had those that time to reset and mentally. Now, Cole, when you hear that, do you think he quit during that round, or he said, I don't want to continue once he hit the stool?
I think
that's what I wanted to ask you.
I think he might have gotten rung a little harder than any of us realized with that last combo maybe, and realized I'm going to get my ass kicked really bad right now. Like, sometimes you just fight a guy. Like, some of us will come across a guy where, like, I'm probably going to get my ass kicked, but it's like, fuck it, I showed up. It's payday. Yeah. There's always a chance I can win. I'm going to go out there and try to win. Like, I didn't show up to lose, but this might really this might be about to suck. So when you get cracked like that really good, and he didn't finish you, and you got to go back to your corner, some guys are just like, maybe it broke him mentally. He was just like, I'm going to get the shit kicked out of me right now if I go back out there. Like, this guy's out striking me. I can't bring him down. But what do you do at that point? You don't want to quit in the fight. You don't want to just like give him an arm or let him knock the shit out of you. Nobody wants to do that. So when you tell your cornerman, I'm done, call it. Like, if I heard my guy tell me I'm done, call it, I'd be like, what's wrong? Are you injured? What's wrong? Did you break something? No, I'm done. What do you mean you're done? Like, I would argue with him for a sec, but I'd be like, dude, we got 1 minute to sort this out. What's the problem? What's wrong? I'm done. I can't beat this guy. I'm done. Are you sure? You want to quit on national TV, bro? Like, I would put him on the spot and be like, you're not going to live this down, dude. Everyone's going to you're going to hear about this for the next year if you quit on the stool. I would make sure it was very clear the scenario he was setting themselves up for, man or woman fighter. They're setting themselves up for.
Here's a $1 million question. Would you send him out?
If my fighter said I'm done.
Would you send him out knowing you had the towel in your hand?
See, here's the thing. Do I have a previous agreement with him? Okay. Does he want me to throw in the towel? Like, with
some fighters don't like that shit.
Well, yeah, with my coach,
they'll get fired.
Don't do it. Yeah, there's an agreement. It's like, you never throw in the towel. If I'm getting the shit kicked out of me, let me get the shit kicked out of me. I signed up. Okay. I stepped in the ring. I know what I'm getting myself into every time. And me and my coach had that understanding. I knew what I was getting into every time. So throwing in the towel wasn't an option. But at the same time, if I told him, I'm done, bro, call it. Mm-hmm. He would probably say okay. But at the same time, if a fighter asked me that, I don't know, because here's the thing: I don't know. If I knew that the guy shouldn't be quitting, some guys you could just be like, okay, cool, well, I understand. But if there's a guy that's like, dude, you could beat this guy. What the fuck you doing?
Because you know your fighter.
Exactly. I know my guy. It's like, dude, no, push through. And if he still said no, I do it. I'd be like, okay, cool. The ref's right there. You're done. Tell him you're done. The ref's about to ask you, are you ready? When you get off to school, if you want done, then you tell the ref. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, if that guy wanted out that bad, if Roshkov wanted out of that fight that bad, all he had to do was keep his fucking mouth shut. And when the ref goes, are you ready? No. Yeah. The ref, it's going to throw the ref off. The ref's going to go, wait, what? Are you ready? No. Time.
Wave it off.
Are you done? Are you quitting? Yeah, I'm done. Cool. Fight's over. versus I understand it, but at the same time, I don't think it's fair to tell your cornerman, I want to quit. Like, you're putting them in a very, very rough spot. And that's what a lot of people understand is his whole job is to get you ready for the fight. Even if that wasn't the main cornerman for training purposes, for that fight at that moment, that's your cornerman. His whole job is to tell you what was wrong in that last round, and what works, what didn't.
Guide you.
Exactly.
Coach you.
Get
motivate
you ready. Motivate you, yeah. So when you ask him, I want to quit, dude, their first instinct is to be like, no, fuck it, shake it off, let's go. You got this guy. Like, you're asking them to be like, you're right, you got the shit kicked out of you. When in reality, maybe they would. I'd be like, yeah, dude, you just got fucking wrong. Shake it off, pull your fucking panties up and get ready for round 2. Mm-hmm. Here's why you got caught. Let's not put ourselves in that position. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm a different person, man. Like, some guys might be like, yeah, he asked me to quit. I'm not going to put him at risk. If he's done, he's done. I might just be like, dude, you need to keep going. If you want to quit, there's the ref. He's going to ask you if you're ready. You just say no. I'm not going to throw in the towel for you. I refuse to allow you to quit. And that would be a case-to-case scenario. But it's a bad spot to put your cornerman in. That's rough. That's rough.
You know what? The media experts were very opinionated without giving this cornerman the opportunity to speak his mind, to do even a small investigation. I mean, he was crucified before he even left the building.
Yeah, and that's your armchair quarterback syndrome. You have a lot of people like. That's why I love it when I see that what's his name, AJ or whatever from ESPN. He does a lot of commentating on MMA.
Oh yeah, Stephen Smith.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith or whatever. When that guy talks about MMA and this, dude, it makes my fucking brain hurt when I hear that guy talk about MMA because he doesn't know what the fuck you talk about. You don't, dude. You don't. The shit that I've heard come out of your mouth, like, it's just that you don't know. He doesn't know MMA.
He knows basketball really well.
He knows, like, stick to the sports that you have committed. You've committed yourself to learning. You've committed yourself to knowing everything. It's like he puts on boxing gloves and does some shit in like a GB3, and all of a sudden he's like the commentator that can the anchorman that can like fight. It's like, no, you fucking can't. Stop. Stick to what you already know, and that you're it's one of those stay in your lane type things.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, stay in your lane. Like, and at the same time, they might have just threw him into it too. We have to consider that variable when speaking on Mr. Smith, because we do know he is vastly articulate and educated when it comes to the other sports.
Okay, I will say this,
but
he is a badass. He can handle himself on the mic. Big time.
When it comes to that, yes. But it's like you don't see me talking about boxing. You don't see me talking about baseball. You don't see me talking about basketball, football, soccer. What? Because I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. But I've spent 10 plus years within one industry, one sport.
Well, I give you more credit than your boxing than you let everybody know.
I've tried to learn more.
He's a fighter, and you are. It's just making that transition.
They kind of go hand in hand. So, but like when
common in a lot of areas.
Some of the stuff I hear people say, it's armchair quarterback stuff, and it's like, and I even saw some MMA guys crucifying it because they're like, dude, how could you let him? He told you he's done. So that's where the variable comes in. We don't know what their dynamic was. Without knowing what those two guys, as a cornerman and a fighter's dynamic. I've seen guys bring in cornermen that weren't even at their camp.
Yeah.
But they're like, I've done it before. Bob Cook, I've done it before from AKA. Dude wasn't even part of my training camp. But Bob would be there that night. Me and my coach would say, hey, would you mind doubling with us with this fight? Dude, he never say no. He never said no, never asked for a penny. He was there. He was down because we had a good relationship. Bob liked me, and I respected Bob.
But there's nothing like a cornerman that knows you, and that's his fighter. That's my cornerman.
And that's right, exactly. We don't know their dynamic. Like, later I'd find out they're like, yeah, dude wasn't even at the camp. The cornerman's barely there. But I don't know. I think it was Drysdale was the cornerman, so I don't know what their dynamic was. And it's hard to judge it or gauge it all just based on what we saw.
Yeah.
That's a hard scenario to be in as a cornerman. But later, if we found out that their dynamic was, yeah, dude, cornerman should have listened to him. Like, he knows that guy, and he knows that guy says, I'm done, I'm done. Don't send me out there to get hurt. Then you have to. But at the same time, if he's like, okay, look, I've seen him here before. We push him back out there, and he pushes through, and he hits his wall, and he goes, and he's a fucking beast. We had a guy on our team before that if you dropped him, we used to call him our Burrow, Patrick Murphy. Dude was a fucking beast. If you dropped him.
He wasn't shit till he got dropped.
Yeah. If you didn't finish him when you dropped him, we don't even need a corner anymore. This fucking fight's over. He's going to fuck you up. Like, it was that kind of thing. Like, you would drop him and he would wake up. And if you didn't finish him, oh, man, did you have a problem on your hands? Because the dude kicked like a mule. And he would just blast you. So there's a couple times where he'd get dropped like 5 seconds into the fight. And we'd be like, oh, fuck, no. And he would get up and we'd be like, oh, dude, Pat, you scared us. Okay, fight's over. And then he would just proceed on to rock the dude.
Weather the storm.
So there's guys like that. Like if Pat in between rounds was like, I'm done. Don't send me back out there. I'm done. Probably let him quit. because that dude knows himself. We would trust him to know enough about himself. So like I said, it's hard without knowing that dynamic that those two fighters had. So to look out on a glass house syndrome, all these people that are supposedly he shouldn't have done this, he should have did. So how are we going to know? Until I hear what their individual dynamic was with each other, I'll never be able to fully judge it. And I won't even judge it now. I would just say that's a hard spot to put your corner man in.
You know what? I still call it prejudgment only because it's not even 5 minutes into any type of investigation or a thorough report. Their mind's already made up.
Yeah,
you got to give it the time. You got to say, hey, I haven't heard from him yet.
Like, I don't even know what they're investigating him for. Like, what?
Well, not investigating. I mean, give him the opportunity to speak. To him to say, hey, nobody knows my fighter like I do. We have an agreement. I get paid to do this. He told me to push him beyond, and I know my fighter.
Yeah,
he had a lot
for all
left.
we know, they had an agreement before where he's like, anytime he asked me to quit, he told me to ignore him.
Yeah.
And just push him through it, and he'll break. Or we don't, and the guy's just, I'm done, and the cornerman should have. Yeah. The dynamic we find out is that he should have loaned, and he should have listened, and he was just putting him at risk by doing it. But at the end of the day, remember, at the end of the day, if you don't want to fight and the ref asks you, are you ready? You can still say no, regardless of what that cornerman did or didn't do that you asked. Dude, at the end of the day, the ref's going to ask you, are you ready? No. You fucking look with no. Shake your head.
No, I'm not.
The ref will go, what's up? Are you ready? Are we doing this? It's time to go. No? Okay, that's it. Fight's off. Like, I've seen so many times they call it in between rounds. There's no difference in that last moment.
Well, he took it in his own hands when he was asked, do you want to continue? He said no.
Yeah.
So when it was his turn to have that opportunity, he took it in his own hands and he said
because the
no.
ref or the cornerman or the doctor or somebody,
I believe it was the doctor or somebody
started listening in and going, what are you saying? Like, are
one of
you
the
done?
officials, I believe.
Yeah, well, can you not see what's wrong? And he was just like, I'm done. So I think that boils down to, and like I said, I don't know that fighter.
Yeah.
5-day notice is 5-day notice. Maybe he bit off more than he can chew, taking a UFC debut on 5-day notice. I don't know.
Well, it was 1 round apiece going into that third round.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe it was just, it's hard to say, man.
Yeah.
Because you already did 2 rounds. Like, it's one of those things where you're at bingo fuel. You have enough fuel to get you where you're going and not enough fuel to get back to where you came from. So you're committed. Like, after round 1, you're committed. Like, after bell rings, bro, you're committed. Like, if you didn't want to have this fight happen, you had your chance at the curtain.
Yeah.
This dude's either going to kick your ass now or you're going to beat him. Like, that's it. It's once you start a gunfight, you can't stop a gunfight. Once the bullets start flying, it ends when someone gets shot. Like, that's just how it is. One of you is walking out the winner. Do you want to walk out the winner because you won, or do you want to walk out the loser because you quit? Like, and I've seen guys quit mid-fight too, but they just let you kick their ass. I've seen it happen. Like, dude, that guy just broke.
They gave up already.
They give up.
They just want to finish the fight.
Yeah, and they look for a way out. They go down. They just start covering up. They know the ref will stop the fight. Like, I've seen it. There's ways out. But at the end of the day, that's, like I said, at the end of the day, without knowing their dynamic, those two, it's hard to say whether or not the cornerman was right or wrong. And at the end of the day, who gives a shit? You're watching it on TV. Who cares whether you think it's right or wrong or not? All these people giving the guy shit like, oh, he should have. Yeah, it's hard because that's the UFC. This wasn't your first rodeo.
Right.
Like,
this wasn't your first fight
This wasn't your first fight ever. Like, you should have been ready for this fight. Again, I'd have to know why he quit.
Yeah.
I'd have to hear it in his own words why he quit. What made him stop? And he might say, dude, that guy fucked me up at the end of that last round.
Well, let's hear it from him, man. Reach out to him. Let's get him on the show. Let's do that.
I'll have to do that. I probably get no response. But I'll have to do that just because I want to hear, which he's probably been asked a million times.
Yeah.
But I just want to hear it go between that dynamic. Now that you see everybody coming down on his cornerman, do you think that's warranted? Do you feel
I want to see what's going to happen his next fight if he still has the same cornerman. That's what I want to know.
I'd be curious to see if he'll even have a next UFC fight. That's what I'd be more curious about.
Oh, well, if not, then he'll go somewhere else. And he may go here. He may be ready in August. Because in August, Combate Americas is making its return with no audience, no crowd, nobody in the building. August 28th, Combate Americas is coming to Miami for a closed show.
Florida, yeah. Florida, Arizona.
Yeah,
Florida,
Mike
Arizona.
Efromowitz, man. Campbell making it happen.
Well, yeah, at this point now, every organization is going to be bouncing to, well, I take that back. Any organization that can afford to do a no-ticket gate show. There's a lot that cannot.
Yeah, exactly. In a lot, they just got to roll that dice. You want to stay relevant, man.
Like,
you want to stay right in the mix.
I don't think I've seen a Bellator show really announced yet.
No, I haven't.
So it's like, I don't think Scott Croker and them, I don't think the numbers work for them. I think they looked at the numbers and go, our strength is in ticket gate sales because we don't have a TV deal really.
They
not a
bounced
consistency
around.
one. So so it's like we kind of have to have a gate to do it. So They might not. UFC, on the other hand, their strength have been gate, but they've always made stupid numbers off their stream as well. So they're just going.
They have money. I don't want to say to burn, but they're the Disneyland of the Ferris wheel.
I don't think they have money
the amusement park.
Money to burn. I think it's more of a sense of
they have money to risk. They have money to take those chances,
and that's
it's
why.
Working for them.
That's why they're doing it, not because they have. It's weird to say it. It's not because they have the money. They're doing it because they have the money to burn. If they don't do shows, they're just wasting dollars every day. They're burning dollars every day with all the staff that they have, all the crew, all the fighters that are rostered. Some guys have contracts where it's like, I'm guaranteed a fight every X amount of months.
Yeah.
And my pay scale goes up accordingly. But every 4 months, you have to at least offer me a fight.
What I will say, and it's going on as we speak, is Top Rank Boxing. They've been active every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Saturday. I mean, they're just, hey, as soon as we got the green light, they're rocking and rolling. They're keeping their guys on the roster very active.
Got to keep them paid. Yeah. And like Dana said, you're going to find out who wants to get paid and who doesn't. Right now,
who wants to fight?
Anybody who's turning down a fight, I'm telling you right now, with any promotion, if a promoter asks you to fight right now and you say no for any fucking reason other than you have a fight already contracted with someone, your name is going to go from list A to list B, and it's going to stay on list B, and that list B is going to be when we really need someone list. You're no longer going to be the initial phone call. It's going to be like, hey, do you want to fight next week? Everyone fell through.
You're not going to be the Chael or the Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, you're not going to be the first.
Never turns down a fight.
Never going to be the first. Yeah, and Cerrone would never turn down a fight. He'd be like, yeah, I'll fight him, blah, blah, blah. By the way, who are we talking about?
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. Fighters are fighters. Yeah. The only time it matters who you're fighting is when it should come to the negotiation. They should offer you a fight? Yes. Okay, now, who is it and what money are we talking? I will already take the fight, but we need to make sure the money's right. You're never going to turn down a fight. No. I had a manager that negotiated my 3-fight contract for the UFC, and then that was, not I want to say that was it, but that was pretty much the end of his
need.
Not his need as far as the negotiations went, because once you negotiate those 3, there's no need for negotiations until those 3 fights are over. Yeah. From there, it was just, they called me. Sean Shelby would call me directly. Joe Silva, they called directly, hey, do you want to fight so-and-so? They were calling and offering a fight. I have a 3-fight contract with them. You're offering me work. I don't get paid unless I work. Yes, I will take the fight. I don't care when it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Then the next time they call you, when's the next fight? Yes. You don't say no. The only time you say no to a fight is because you already have a fight, or if there's something particularly wrong with the way that fight pans out for you, where you're like, fighting him does nothing for me.
Yeah.
I would love to fight for you, but here's my concern. Beating him doesn't do anything for me. Is there some kind of incentive here? Oh yeah, well, we're gonna have you off contract for this fight. It's last minute. You're doing us a favor. This will be an off contract fight. And we'll pay you 12-12, where your next fight was only gonna be 10-10. So your potential to earn an extra $4,000 or something. You know what I mean? Where it's or at the same time they'd be like, you want the fucking fight or not?
Yeah.
Right now it's the same thing. Dana White and Joe Silva and all those guys that are in charge of all that stuff, or whoever's in charge of it now. I'm not sure if Joe's the matchmaker now. But
right now, boxing and MMA doesn't have a long time for long negotiations, man.
True.
You're going to take the fight or you're not.
True. And I mean, with them being the only sports on, with the exception of the baseball announcement and some NASCAR, they're the only sports on. Like Dana said, we're the only one doing sports. Their streaming numbers have to obviously be disgruntledly through the roof, because they're going to be skewed, because the only thing they do is no live. But they have so much money to burn that they need to start putting out content, because they're losing money by not putting out content.
You know who we need to get back on? I mean, we've had Mike from once on the show early with this whole coronavirus. He didn't have too many answers. He didn't know exactly what was going to be the next date. Either myself or you, we need to reach out to him, get him on the show, maybe possibly next week, and talk to him about that Miami show.
Yeah, the landscape's looking in Florida.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to be, they're following everyone's blueprint at this point.
I want to see what they're doing different, or what they're doing, or why they waited so long, and why did they choose Miami, and
you got to
the main event.
You got to remember, as what I would consider not A level, like UFC and Bellator, they can afford to implement a game plan and see if it works. You get other organizations that maybe they can't afford to make the mistake, so they got to wait.
Exactly, waiting is part of their strategy.
Yeah, they got to see what works and what doesn't. Like with the boxing, one team ended up testing positive. Well, at what point did they? What measures were taken? How would you handle it?
I'm glad you brought that up. We have one who's very true to the fighter's voice. He's a world champ. We brought him up earlier. We were talking to Gabriel Flores Sr. That's WBO junior lightweight champion of the world. Jamal Herring, he tested positive for coronavirus. Our prayers are with him and his family. Spoke to him. He's in good spirits. He actually had his fight rescheduled, so everything's on course for him to continue his boxing career. So a lot of times I don't know, so I don't want to comment too much of that about it, but a lot of people, they'll test positive, they'll test again in less than 24 hours, and it's negative.
Yeah, I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole on the validity of all
I
that.
still offer my prayers, and we still do, but he's in good spirits. He's like, hey, Rich, I'm gonna be fighting. It's just rescheduled. Everything's fine now. Clean bill of health now. Yeah,
so and that's the problem is now you got to start looking at, let's say that fight didn't get rescheduled. Let's say they just scrap that fight altogether until they can come up with another venue or something. There's like, we'll talk to you. That false positive could be the factor to lead into what millions of dollars of a potential fight that should have happened. So now he gets pushed down the ladder. That fight gets pushed down the ladder. He loses momentum. There's a lot of factors. You got to remember, the country runs like a machine, like a business, and we basically stop the machine from running for a while, and everything's all these different infrastructures are crashing to a halt. That the infrastructures themselves weren't designed with this in mind, and there was no real backup. That's why there was like
everybody has their own idea of what the correct answer is, and that's where we're at.
Well, I don't even know if it's the different idea of what the correct answer is. I think it's just a difference on what any answer is to move forward. Like they open so fast that it's like we got to get the machine going again. Like you have to. The country's run like a machine. You have to get the machine going again, and if you don't, and
if you're Walmart, we're going to continue to keep it going.
Yeah, that one blew my mind. But you even heard the stores are just going to start switching to like all automated systems. Yeah. Like I think it was a Walmart or something was switching to an all automated system. There was only going to be greeters and people assisting you with the self checkout. So we're all going to work for Walmart for free because we're all going to bag our own shit. We already do. Like,
where's little Johnny at in the back? You don't even know what he's working on.
Yeah, you're gonna have stalkers, and even then, you're gonna have stalking guys, and those will just
you're gonna have real stalkers outside of Walmart.
Yeah, dude, that'll happen too. People will be giving you shit about doing or not wearing a mask.
So what do you got in MMA news, man? What's ticking right now? What's going on?
Right now, we've got Saturday. We've got a UFC fight night coming up that's gonna get headlined by Poirier and Hooker.
Okay.
And that's going to be an okay. When I got Poirier on that one, he's coming off that last loss, so I'm thinking he's going to get the momentum going again. I think he knows what he did wrong in that one. Hooker's got a couple win streaks coming on, so he's in a good light. But I just think we'll find out whether or not Poirier can either bounce back from a good butt kicking and move forward, or if the momentum was enough to just knock him down the mountain, and it's just going to take him a while to climb back up.
I want to ask him from Wits if there's any females on that card, and if so, is Stephanie Frosto on that card? That's one question I do want to ask.
Florida one?
Yeah, in August 28th.
We'll probably pull that up and look it up just to see. I don't know if they didn't even announce the venue yet, so I don't think they have a card built yet.
It was just a date.
It's not till August, right?
Yeah, August 28th.
Yeah, I would imagine they'll focus. You got to remember, so now where you hold your fights, who you put on your card, again, when you're not the UFC, you're not Bellator, things like that, you don't have as big of deep pockets as a lot of people assume promoters have. So you got to remember, you're going to probably see a lot of Midwest to East Coast fighters. You're going to see a lot of Florida fighters. You're going to see a lot of, New York.
I don't want to call them scabs, okay? I don't want to do that at all. So don't get me wrong. These guys, because of this virus, it is giving the blue collar, the guy that has never been on TV ever, the opportunity to shine.
Yeah.
And to have that opportunity where people I think if a fighter gets the opportunity, he's never had it before, he's going to walk away with either a promotion deal, a manager, or a callback.
Well, yeah, and that's why Dana's like, right now, he said
in both MMA, in boxing.
Yeah, if any promoter gives you the opportunity to fight right now, you're going to be on a much
that
larger...
has never had the opportunity, that have never... I mean, we have fighters that fight tonight for Top Rank. They're not under contract with Top Rank. Top Rank asks them to fight, and they're like, heck yeah.
So we need content.
On national TV, absolutely.
Yeah, and it is going to be, it's going to be the who's who of who wants to fight right now, and they are going to be on a larger exposed scale, which is going to be shocking to some, and some it's just going to be, they've been waiting for that. Like, it's like, wow, I don't have to have 4 or 5 more fights to get that level of exposure right now. I'm going to go out there and put on a show right now, and in one fight, I can go from here to here. Yeah. Just based on my fan base exposure and my growth. Because I remember, promoters will be like, what's his Instagram followers? It's like, they want to know, like, how many Instagram followers do they have? That's the name of the game.
Help us out in any way possible, man. Help yourself out.
Yeah, like the promoters at the end of the day want to worry about how can you get our logo out there? How can you expand and build our promotion? How can you make us more money? The sooner you realize that that's all you are is, at the sake of sounding, demeaning anyone, you're kind of prostituting yourself out as a fighter. You're
internet sensation, man.
Yeah, you're given the opportunity to make lots of money by doing something people would consider it easy, but doing something a lot of people would consider easy, a lot of people would consider hard, and a lot of people aren't willing to do.
Yeah.
You're willing to do that for large sums of money and put yourself at risk, but at the same time, you're making pennies compared to what you're making the promoter. I mean, pennies. So, and people compare the UFC and stuff like, oh, UFC guys are only making a percentage of what the gate is and stuff, the gates this and that. Yeah, but if you look at the UFC gates and numbers and stuff and compare them to what boxing pulls in, when boxing is pulling in like $900 million for an event, well, yeah, of course they can afford to pay the headline guys a $300 million purse that they'll split however they want.
It's crazy.
It's like they're making hand over fist, plus they're making money off the vendors, off the TV advertising. Like all these things make them all this money. So you have to be able to bring up something that says, here's how I can make you more money. So there in turn, you can give me a little bit of that back.
Well, of course, and it's a great investment. They're going to invest in something where they're going to get their money back.
Yeah.
Speaking of good investment, tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the man, the myth, the legend himself, legendary trainer. Nothing but dogs show up in this gym, and that's Robert Garcia from Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy. He's enjoying us live here at the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. We're going to be talking about his stable, because his stable, he has fighters from Top Rank Boxing, PVC, Golden Boy, and plus they're putting together their own show at the end of this month. I believe it's in Texas, Garcia's Boxing Promotions, and they're keeping their fighters active. That stable is active. All their fighters aren't just training. They all got fights coming up. Robert Garcia is very busy. Actually, he was going to come on today. He's coming on tomorrow because he's in Las Vegas right now, Top Rank Boxing, but he's enjoying the Fighter's Voice tomorrow, talk about how his stable's active, how his son is... his career is growing as a trainer, and also they got a pretty nifty podcast they got coming out themselves too. Yeah, very, very well.
I think I see you posted something.
Yeah, I did. I posted something.
Yeah,
like
the
that,
Garcia. It was called Garcia something.
Yeah, Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy.
And it'd be good. We get another perspective of the dad-son dynamic and how that career is going.
I want to bring the son on as soon as we can. He is a boxing trainer, but he is a big UFC fan.
Oh, cool.
And I want to have him on the show, man. I know you guys can just
we can talk shop.
Yeah, exactly, all day long.
See how his perspective
Jose
of
Aldo
UFC.
go down to Robert Garcia's Boxing Academy and work on his hands there.
Oh, good. Then then they got a good understanding of what the high-level MMA scene is like and what the fighters are looking from them for.
There's actually some footage, some content, and I know we got to go real quick.
Of Aldo down there?
No, of all those down there. And everybody knew this was going to take place, but the fighter's spinning and moving around, and Aldo just has howled it. In the middle of the fight, just dips him. And that fighter's like, what the? And everybody's laughing, like, what? But Aldo's kind of just...
Jose knew he was going to do it. Yeah, Jose knew he was going to do it.
Tapped him on the butt like, hey, man, it's all good.
They told me to do it, man,
You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And he was like, whoa, and he was just like, he was more embarrassed than hurt.
Well, yeah, because you got to remember, boxing stance isn't built for sprawl.
No.
It's just not. It's built for power. It's built for twist.
I got to find that footage, man.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, we're going to have to post that, man. Anything we have, man, before we cut?
Just remember, guys, UFC Fight Night this weekend. We also had an announcement for Ferguson and Gaethje. That's something to start looking forward down the road, is that fight. They announced the possibility of that. And nothing new from McGregor. Nothing new on his retirement scene. Nothing new from the ropes on that. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Cole, I hope I don't overstep my boundaries right here. I want to take this time, and I want to let you know that you personally, in the MMA world, lost somebody very close, and let's give them their respect, man. If you have something to say about your corner, man, and my condolences, my man.
I mean, there's lots of guys that I've been talking to lately about that. It's hard. It's a weird scenario. Losing someone close is a hard thing in general, but then with Pop, it was a very unique scenario. Okay. I mean, we've worked together, we've trained together, we've been in bar fights together.
Just wanted to honor his name on the show.
Yeah, no, Pop was a good man, and he's definitely good. I mean, the MMA community as a whole, from low-level circuit to high-level circuit, all know who he was. And there are lots of fighters have come across his path, and he's come across their path and built relationships. So it's one of those moments where it's really unfortunate for people to realize how many people someone's life is touched in such a positive manner, and they just don't realize it until you're gone sometimes.
Exactly.
And that's just how it is. People don't realize that you've touched their lives at some point. Yeah. So it's just, for the example, I mean, it's just like two out of those 4 people are gone. Yeah. Me and JT, out of the people, we're the only ones left. Pop and Ted, they're both gone. So to lose guys that are like, I've known those guys since I was not even old enough to drive a car yet. So it's just different when you lose someone close. But in this particular moment, you're losing your master. You're losing your it's like being a Ronin almost. It's like you don't have a master anymore. It's a weird feeling. I mean, I figured I was going to come across it one day, but when you've spent this much time with the same person, doing what we were doing for as long as we were doing, and the risks involved in it, and the trust and the things like that, it's hard. It's a very confusing feeling.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how to process it. I haven't even figured out how to process it yet.
Well, I'm sure the brothers in the MMA world, man, they appreciate you saying those fine, kind words for this man that deserves the utmost respect and has touched lives and taught a teacher, a father, just a good man all the way around. And I never met the man personally, but from what I hear from not just yourself, Cole, from other fighters that have reached out and posted some nice, classy things about the man. So, our heart goes with him and his family, and he'll be missing in the MMA world.
Definitely. People are definitely going to miss him. He had a good class. He was a good instructor. Lots of people are going to take the notice of it.
Well, there we are, man. Hey, Rich Ortiz here, your host of The Fighter's Voice. I want to thank Escovedo, man, for coming down on a Tuesday. He's usually here rocking on a Wednesday. I'm seeing if I can get his ass back here tomorrow with Robert Garcia. Hey, and it's a wrap here in Fresno, California. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.